Thanks to a New York Times article written back in 2012, Central Kentucky's becoming known for its donut trail. Yes, this fried dough confection is in abundance in the bluegrass, and Lexington has more than its fair share of this sweetened, cake-like goodness. There are a handful of iconic donut bakeries thanks to not only an appreciation for the treat, but also for made-from-scratch bakeries. Today, we learn more about some of the acclaimed donut shops in Lexington, and we may even get to try one. Or two. Okay, maybe three. Our first stop on the Lexington Donut Tour is at North Lime Coffee and Donuts, where they serve what they call life-changing donuts. They first opened a shop on North Lime in downtown Lexington, but soon added a second location on Clay's Mill due to their overwhelming success and popularity. Here you can find the perfect duo of locally roasted coffee and made-from-scratch donuts. They also lay claim to some of the friendliest and quirkiest staff you'll ever meet. I'm here with Nick Cooper, and he is the manager at North Lime Coffee and Donuts on the Clays Mill Road location. And thank you so much for having us here today.
Well, thanks for coming.
You guys have a really fun group. I can tell you guys have a lot of fun. You've had a diverse crowd coming in. Tell me about the community of people that work here and the community you serve.
It's pretty diverse group of employees. We kind of range from musicians to students to adults who don't want to grow up. It's kind of all-inclusive.
That's right. Well, in the community of people, too, you've had a great cross-section of people that have come in.
Between downtown and here, it's way different. I mean, if you were to work at both stores, you'd see completely different groups of people at both stores. But even with the store specifically, it's just crazy the amounts of people that come in.
What attracted you to working in a donut shop?
Well, I worked at Starbucks for about 6 years before this, and the guy who hired me at Starbucks actually started this with 2 others. And so when he told me the idea that he wanted to open a coffee shop that was kind of local but also do donuts, I was in.
That's right. Well, and you guys do great coffee. I mean, it's all local, and you've got people who are trained professionally to make it. But then you also do donuts, and that's kind of unique, isn't it?
It is. One of the missions that they set out to accomplish was to do both really well, because there's a lot of great bakeries, there's a lot of great coffee places, but there's not really one that does them together. So with Heidi on the baking side and Joe kind of running the coffee, it was a good partnership.
Yeah, and your donuts are not just any kind of donuts. I mean, when I walked in, I mean, some of the stuff out there is crazy, innovative, and fun. And
yeah, we have some imaginations in the kitchen. I think when we first started out, it was pretty basic, and we just go to Kroger and buy whatever we could see and just put it together, make up things that had never been done, or take recipes of desserts that we like outside of here and make them into donuts.
Well, do you have a favorite one that you like, or you just kind of try them all?
Yeah, I try them all, probably every day. But I think the one that's special to me, because I kind of created it, was the tiramisu. It's just, I love that dessert, so I was like, I'm gonna make it into a donut. So
that's awesome.
Combine some ingredients and it tastes the same. So.
Well, and you guys have stable ones, are ones that are on your menu all the time, right? They're consistent, but then you have specials too.
Yeah, kind of the way we do it is the classics, glazed chocolate, cinnamon sugar, and then the powdered sugar, which we call funnel cake, because that's just what it tastes like. We keep those all the time, including Cinnamonkeys, which is kind of our take on donut holes. And then we try to keep one of the specials pretty similar throughout the month. So we call that the monthly, even if it does change. It's still, I think this month is cookie themes.
Okay.
And then the other one we just kind of randomly create the morning of. So.
Now, what's it like for someone who comes in here for the first time? I mean, they've probably not seen donuts like this.
Yeah, it's a little overwhelming. You'll get people who look over the counter at the rack, and then they kind of back up and look at the menu, and then see the ones on display, and they're like, "Oh my gosh!" But we can usually help them out, direct them to what they want.
Sure, and you have a great Facebook page. I know when I was looking on there, there's all kinds of different donuts and the pictures, and so you can...
Yeah, we've actually not paid a dime for marketing. We have gone completely with social media, which is, I don't know, kind of new. I feel like people spend a lot of money on marketing when there's so many tools that are free that you can market yourself with. And Facebook's been really, really good for us.
Oh yeah, those pictures, I'm telling you, I was writing the script, I was getting hungry.
Yeah.
Just like, oh man.
You can smell them.
I could, yeah, it was awesome. Well, tell me, I know we're going to get to go back into the kitchen, speaking of smells and everything. Tell me what we're going to be doing.
We are going to ice the sprinkle donut, which is actually in affiliation with Nourish Your Neighborhood. It's a local charity that takes the money gained from the donuts and puts it back into the school systems to feed the kids that go there. So we've been partnering with them, I think, for about a year, a little over a year. And we're going to ice that, and we're going to add the sprinkles and tray it up.
That's awesome. Well, I'm ready. I'm going to get back there and sprinkle up.
Let's do it.
In addition to a wonderful Java aroma, North Lime Coffee and Donuts also has that heavenly sweet smell of fried dough. You'll find a lot of choices here. They have classics like vanilla glazed, but their real claim to fame are the plethora of special varieties offered here. Creative donut goodies like funfetti, cookies and cream, banana pudding, Lucky Charms, and salted caramel chocolate stout. For those more adventurous types, they even offer a chicken waffle donut or pizza donut. There's no shortage of innovative choices offered here. Nothing gets your morning started off right like a locally crafted espresso drink and a Samoan delight. Girl Scouts honor. Now we have to pace ourselves because there are many more donuts after the break. A trip to Donut Days is coming up next on The Local Traveler. Today, we're getting our fill of donuts in Lexington, Kentucky. Our first stop was at North Lime Coffee and Donuts, where we taste tested some incredibly creative confections. Our next stop is at Donut Days Bakery, where they have been serving the Lexington community for over 40 years. This family-owned and operated business still bakes the old-fashioned way with fresh products made on site daily. Their flagship store on Southland Drive delivers nightly to 7 counties, and they recently opened a second location in Chevy Chase. Donut Days Bakeries become a common meeting place for locals and out-of-town visitors alike. I'm here today with Fred Wolstein, who is the owner of Donut Days. And
Yes.
You have 2 locations. We're at your flagship store, but you even opened one on Chevy Chase.
Yes, we like to have our bakeries in locations that are community oriented, and Chevy Chase is like one of those community hot spots. It's got a real identity, so we thought it'd be nice to go into that neighborhood. It just kind of fits our model.
Absolutely. Well, and what I love about your customers is, you know, they are loyal. I mean, some of them have been coming since you opened in 1972.
Yeah, and their children and their children's children. I've had gentlemen that are in their 40s stop by and almost cry because their dad took them here like every Saturday when they were 8, 9, and they have passed on, and it's a connection to the past, which is really cool.
Sure. Well, and you guys are doing some classic donuts that they could have gotten, 42 years ago.
Absolutely. The most popular still remains the traditional glazed yeast donut. Some of the old timers call it a raised donut. And then the second would be the chocolate covered, which is also a yeast raised donut.
Well, what's great is you have those classic donuts, but then you also have some innovative ones for those more adventurous seekers.
Absolutely. We like to mix it up, and sometimes we'll do a maple bacon donut, which a lot of people have done. We've done blueberry apple cider with organic apples and organic cider. The bourbon barrel, which is very popular among adults, especially weddings. They want that flavor, and it's unconventional, so it kind of surprises people. And it's a great taste.
Kentucky, you gotta go
Yes,
with bourbon.
absolutely Kentucky. And we usually pair it with a devil's food cake donut and put it in the glaze, sometimes in the batter, and it just kind of surprises people, which they're like, wow, that's good.
Absolutely, yeah, I can imagine. Well, yeah, you've got all that. You've got the classic, you've got those kind of new and innovative donuts, and you guys are doing other things too. I mean, you've got cakes and all kinds of things.
Yeah, we do the cakes, wedding cakes, we do danishes, we do muffins, we do rolls, we do the variety of different cookies. We do an ice cookie, which is very popular, which is made from scratch. It's kind of a very sandy dough. Then we ice it, and then we can customize it. We can make it into a baby shower cookie, a wedding cookie, a company logoed cookie, and they're very popular. I've done up to 500 for one business.
You guys are doing all homemade stuff. It's all done in-house.
Correct.
the traditional way. I mean, this is kind of a long-standing traditional bakery.
It is. We try and do everything we can to keep it the way your mother did it, the way your grandmother did it. Like the cream horns, we roll out the phyllo dough and we cut it into strips. We wrap it around a metal spool, we bake it, and then we fill it with cream that we make in-house. So you can't get any more, as we say, as fresh as it gets.
Right, yeah. Well, and some other things that you do that people love that are kind of old school are apple fritters.
Yes, apple fritters is one of our mainstays. We like to take our recycled dough, which is really not recycled as you would think of it, but it's scrap dough that would normally be discarded. It's a way to utilize that. It's cut with fresh apples and cinnamon, and then we put it through the fryer and it comes out a nice, almost like a gooey apple pie. It's great flavor and a little, like a crunch to it, and it's very popular. We sell a lot of those.
Well, I understand we're going to get to go back to the kitchen and maybe make a few of those.
Absolutely, we want to get your hands dirty.
I'm ready. This old school bakery offers classic choices like traditional, glazed, blueberry, and cinnamon. But they also have a little fun with out-of-the-box thinking, like the sweet and savory, which is comprised of sausage and egg sandwiched between 2 glazed donuts. This bakery has plenty of colorful and tasty choices, everything from conventional to creative. Okay, Fred, we're in your kitchen. You're putting me to work. What are we doing?
Today we're going to make an apple fritter, which is something that we use to take up our scrap dough. Normally after 1 or 2 cuts of donuts, you can't use that dough again, but they devised a nice method that people really like to eat. It's an apple fritter, which is the 2nd or 3rd cut dough. We're going to add some apples that are already pre-chopped and just some finely ground cinnamon.
Well, and apple fritters are like, I mean, that's like a classic, right?
It is a bakery classic, and it's a fried product, but it's also good for you because you got apples and cinnamon.
We're going to call it a fruit.
Yeah, we're going to call it a fruit dish.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's very healthy.
Good.
So we're going to chop this up and make it really sticky and gooey with this, and then we're going to mold it into what people normally see out front as an apple fritter, which is kind of a disc shape or a odd shaped round, and maybe about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch thick.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
You might think Donut Days only makes, well, donuts, but they also are a full-service bakery. With the same attention to detail they give their acclaimed donuts, they also hand-make cookies, cakes, rolls, breads, pastries, and other specialty baked goods. You'll see a healthy respect for the old-fashioned and time-honored methods for icing cookies and cakes. They do them all by hand and elect to remain fondant-free. After our tour today, there's no doubt that Lexington has some tasty donut shops, and we've just scratched the surface. We have bountiful bakeries here in the Bluegrass, so get on out there and see what the Kentucky Donut Trail has to offer. Just be sure to pace yourself. Make sure and add donuts to your local travelers list.